The strongest force in personal development is focused attention, and this focus faces its greatest threat the moment we begin discussing our plans with others. When we prematurely share our goals and aspirations, we inadvertently drain the energy that should fuel our execution. This phenomenon occurs because speaking about our intentions creates a psychological satisfaction that can substitute for actual progress, while simultaneously inviting external doubt and criticism that can undermine our resolve. The decision to maintain discretion about our projects serves multiple strategic purposes. First, it protects our developing ideas from premature exposure to skepticism. When we share unformed plans, we give others the opportunity to project their own limitations and fears onto our vision. These external voices of doubt can infiltrate our thinking, gradually eroding the confidence necessary for bold action. Second, keeping our goals private prevents the energy leak that occurs when we spend time explaining and defending our choices rather than implementing them. Consider how nature's most impressive phenomena develop in silence. Trees grow their strongest roots underground, invisible to observers. Rivers carve through mountains through persistent, quiet pressure rather than dramatic announcement. This pattern suggests that significant development often requires a period of protected, internal growth before public revelation becomes beneficial. The tendency to share our plans often stems from a desire for validation and social support. However, this impulse can backfire when the people we consult lack the vision to understand our goals or feel threatened by our ambition. Rather than receiving encouragement, we may encounter subtle discouragement disguised as practical advice. Well-meaning friends and family members may inadvertently project their own risk aversion onto our aspirations, leading us to second-guess decisions that align with our authentic goals. From a psychological perspective, discussing our intentions can create a false sense of progress. When we articulate our plans and receive positive feedback, our brains may interpret this social acknowledgement as partial completion of the goal itself. This premature satisfaction can reduce our motivation to take the difficult steps required for actual achievement. Research in psychology supports this observation, showing that announcing goals can sometimes decrease the likelihood of achieving them. The discipline of working quietly also develops important character traits. It builds self-reliance, as we learn to trust our own judgment rather than seeking constant external validation. It strengthens our ability to delay gratification, as we resist the immediate pleasure of social recognition in favor of long-term results. It also cultivates genuine confidence based on competence rather than opinion. This approach requires distinguishing between secrecy and strategic discretion. The goal is not to become isolated or to avoid all feedback, but rather to be selective about when and with whom we share developing ideas. Seeking input from qualified mentors or trusted advisors can be valuable, but this is different from broadcasting our plans widely before we have developed the commitment and capability to execute them. The most compelling argument for this approach comes from observing the patterns of highly successful individuals throughout history. Many groundbreaking innovations, artistic masterpieces, and business ventures were developed largely in private before being revealed to the world as completed works. This pattern suggests that protection during the development phase may be crucial for bringing ambitious projects to fruition. When we do eventually share our work, we do so from a position of strength rather than vulnerability. We present evidence rather than promises, results rather than intentions. This approach commands more respect and creates greater impact than premature announcements. People respond more positively to demonstrated capability than to stated ambition. The practice of strategic discretion also protects us from the natural human tendency toward envy. While people may feel comfortable with our announced plans, they sometimes feel threatened by our actual success. By maintaining privacy during the development phase, we avoid triggering premature negative reactions and give ourselves space to build momentum. Implementing this approach requires developing comfort with working without external recognition during the process. This means finding intrinsic motivation and learning to measure progress through objective indicators rather than social feedback. It also means accepting that others may underestimate our activities, which can actually provide competitive advantage. The key insight is that our energy and attention are finite resources that should be invested where they can produce the greatest return. Time spent explaining and defending our choices is time not spent executing them. Energy directed toward managing others' opinions is energy not available for solving actual problems. By maintaining strategic discretion about our developing projects, we can channel our full capacity toward the work itself. This approach is not about avoiding accountability or isolating ourselves from valuable input. Rather, it is about timing these interactions strategically to maximize their benefit while minimizing their potential interference. The goal is to reach a point where our results speak more convincingly than our words ever could, creating influence through demonstrated competence rather than persuasive communication. Ultimately, this philosophy suggests that the most powerful form of communication may sometimes be silence, backed by consistent action toward meaningful goals. When we finally do reveal our work, we do so not as hopeful beginners seeking validation, but as competent individuals presenting evidence of our capabilities. This shift in positioning changes how others perceive and respond to us, creating opportunities that might not have existed if we had shared our struggles and uncertainties along the way. The discipline of strategic discretion thus becomes both a practical tool for protecting our developing projects and a method for developing the character traits necessary for significant achievement. It teaches us to find motivation from within, to measure progress objectively, and to communicate through results rather than promises. These capabilities serve us well beyond any individual project, becoming part of how we approach challenges and opportunities throughout our lives.